What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday. Good evening. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, and that you are ready for what's coming this week in the markets, because the rumors are that it's going to be crazy, right? The market is scared. That's basically the theme of today's session, of today's live stream, and what we're expecting for the week ahead. The market is scared. You can even look at VIX in here. The big spike that I already had got really close to 30 already. It's been a long time since it was even at those levels. We have the indices completely selling off. Everything is red. We have also crypto moving to the downside. So yeah, maybe the catalyst could have been, or an addition of another catalyst, it was the unemployment, which was the NFP below expectation, way below the expectation. And it was something that it was about to happen at this point. The unemployment has been always being above the projection for the last few meetings, or few data reviews, sorry. But now, yeah, now it's literally much lower. We'll see if there's going to be any correction or not. But in reality, the data from the NFP has been a little bit cooked. Let's just call it like that. There's always big corrections after 1 or 2 months. But there you go. The market is selling off. Not just the dollar, but also the indices. Many are saying that it is maybe the yen trade drove over in there, with also the Bank of Japan now increasing interest rates. We have the bullish rally that we have seen on the yen pairs. In this case on the yen, actually, a negative move to the downside on the yen pairs. And that has been causing also this problem of liquidity. We also saw that apparently Warren Buffett has been selling, I think he sold around 85 billion worth of stocks during Q2. So in this last part of Q2, I think he sold, for example, 50% of his share on Apple, his position on Apple. And it's mostly just to take some profit as well. Market has been super crazy for the last few months, so it was about time to capitalize on it. But also, on the other aspect, is to wait. I think the feeling is that the market is actually about to get into trouble times. So there we are. And yes, seeing what Warren Buffett is doing, it's always a good indicator as well to be aware that maybe something is not right. So he's going to be on cash for now, waiting for better prices, maybe before he jumps and starts positioning himself again into the stock market. So yes, next week's going to be quiet in terms of news, but expect continuation of big volatility in the market. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Many may start thinking that tomorrow can be one of those red days, big red days in the Black Mondays, basically, similar to what happened many years ago. So we'll see if that's going to happen or not. Looking at the market and what we were looking for, right? So we have been predicting all this, basically. Nothing has really caught me by surprise in terms of the move that the dollar has done, the move that the indices has done, the move that crypto has done, or the indices, or even gold, which is kind of still around the highs. Nothing really has been a surprise, and if you have been watching the stream for a while, but if you are new, feel free to subscribe. If you have been watching it for a while, you have noticed that, like, for example, last week prediction on the dollar, or what I've seen since we actually broke this low on the dollar, I've been always a bit more to the downside. Like this low and the way that actually this high in here reacted on the left side, it looked like it was more of a confirmation of a reversal on the dollar in here. And this low, in my opinion, wasn't really reacting from anything extraordinary to actually start pushing price to the upside. It was just a normal level that we actually saw. It was this level in here where we could expect a little bit of a retracement. We also noticed that we had this pattern in here, right? And what I mentioned about that pattern is, yeah, price can go higher, can react and can go, or you can do the opposite, can go here and can go down. Something that I mentioned about this situation, when you do have that that typical pattern, is it matters as well, at least for me, which level is actually being broken first. Is it the low or is it the high? In this case, we actually managed to break the lows first. So then this becomes, in my opinion, the engulf, and that one becomes the fake out. And then also it matters where this one is reacting from. And we mentioned for the last few weeks that level in here, it was the one that we had in our minds. That's a clear level in there that we had, this level of supply. So that's exactly what we were looking for. If price had broken above that level, that would start to be a different situation, but price actually respected it quite nicely in here, right? So we did have that that level in there. And what I mentioned as well, it was actually before the NFP and something like that, it was that even by any chance the dollar wanted to go higher, at least I wanted to see it taking out these lows, coming somewhere in here before even doing that. But also I mentioned, be aware that price actually was reacting from a good level in here. So there you go, price went down, it ended up respecting from that level that I was expecting to, underneath these lows, and meanwhile it made a decision to actually move to downside with the NFP. So no surprise, again, bigger picture, that's what we were expecting, that's how we position ourselves as well. I also mentioned in that sense on Thursday that when we actually saw dollar index just ranging, so dollar index has been ranging for the last few weeks, as you can see in here. We have dollar index ranging, and on the other side you had euro dollar moving down, we had pound dollar moving down, and so on, and actually making good moves, especially pound dollar reacted from a really good level. Euro dollar, I was not really the biggest fan, to be honest, of that low, but pound dollar in the reacting from a good level. So basically these two, they were going down slowly. Pound dollar actually then gained momentum with the Bank of England as well. But what that means is that it looked like that the euro and the pound were just moving to downside until they were getting close to a potential level where they will find actually real buyers to actually finally move to the upside. So while the euro dollar and pound dollar were moving down, dollar index in theory should have been to the upside, should have been making this move upwards, but it wasn't. It was just in the range. So that was another clue that we were looking at, anticipating actually the NFP to see dollar down, because again, the pound and the euro, they were actually getting closer to good levels, again, especially the pound finding levels of where the buyers would be waiting. And there you go, that's what we had, and the continuation now on the dollar to the downside in here. So those are just clues that you can start paying attention to in anticipation to for these big news events that are about to happen, or at least to position yourself accordingly and correctly in the bigger picture, right? Because if you do that, then it makes it just by getting the buys correctly, then you can look for your trades, and you're going to be able to get a few more winning trades than losing trades if you actually are correct in your bias in a higher time frame in here. So what we have in here on the dollar, right? So one of the levels that you were looking for from all this move down, or that in here on the left side, it was somewhere in here. So that's one of the levels that we were anticipating for price to go towards to fake out this low and get a little bit closer to that level. So that's one of them, and then price can even break all the way through, right? Can even go all the way to take these lows and actually eventually get closer to this level in here. Everything in here looks compressed at around this level. There's maybe something in here which price may have already reacted from it or not, but in my opinion, this range in here, it's all taken already. So basically price already reacted from these lows in here several times. This one was the fake out, which means that price can start navigating a bit more to the downside in here. So yes, we do have maybe a little bit of this level on the dollar. Then take this low, maybe a little bit of a reaction, but then everything in here basically is compressed at this point. Then we are going to start looking for the dollar index to get somewhere closer to that level in here. So that's what we're going to be looking at on the dollar index. If price does want to respect that demand zone that we have in here, if price does want to respect that, then we can start looking for price to go and retest this previous level in there. Yeah, so that's basically what we'll be looking for in here. We do have a little bit of a compression, basically close the day in here again. When you do have such a momentum day on Friday, usually Monday tends to carry on with that momentum. So that's something that we can anticipate in here as well. All right, so yep, that's the dollar. Now jumping into the indices, right? And there you go, we had the continuation in here to the downside. So we had that correction a little bit during the week and price went there. Again, we already talked about these levels and how interesting, how interesting the three of them, the three US indices, the Dow, NASDAQ and S&P reacted, and where did they reacted from during this retracement. And this is correlation. Now you can use correlation to actually help us to understand exactly this in terms of maybe which one should be expecting a deeper retracement or which ones you should be expecting just a small retracement, which levels are still fresh in one comparing with the others in here. Right, so we already talked about that. Basically Dow went all the way to retest the highs, S&P came all the way to retest this previous level of supply, and the NASDAQ just reacted from here because this level was still fresh when this high was created in here. So that's basically what we had. Again, the continuation to the downside, we were still bearish. And I mentioned that we were basically still looking for price to continue to move to the downside in here. And now we basically close to the lows in here. So yes, it starts to carry on and the carry on is looking quite bearish in here. At this point, I think S&P already dropped 6%, while we have NASDAQ dropping something around, yeah, S&P around 6.5%. NASDAQ is already around 11 or 12% to move to the downside. It's actually quite a very interesting level where S&P closed on Friday. So this level in here, it's already taken. Okay, it's taken in there. We actually managed not to break this trend line as well, so that was interesting. Actually, look at that, price actually got closer to that level. But yes, something in here. This is something where price could have a little bit of a bounce from somewhere this previous level support resistance. So that's something that price can bounce from. But in the bigger picture, as you can see in here, this may actually be overall the structure. We may actually go all the way from this low that we created back in around 17th of April that made all this move. All right, so this is basically the beginning of this new cycle that we had in here. Yes, we do have a little bit of a reaction from that level. In my opinion, this one is basically also part of that one as well. So that's where we basically had all this. So yes, we do have this mid-range structure in there, which price can bounce, and usually it does bounce from there. In this case, also it's in alignment to this previous level support resistance. But if you do start breaking below these levels in here, then we can actually start aiming for that level. And this level is already a break of this low. So may not even anticipate that price will just stop in here. Actually start thinking that price may want to go even lower than this low. And I could see even going somewhere in there. Now, I think this level in here around 5,200 or 5,300. Like I think this level in here is something that many institutional firms are looking for. In terms of if this holds, maybe price is still going to be able to bounce back. However, if this level breaks, that's scary. That can be a really big sign that price may actually be ready to do something like this. And yeah, it can be ugly. in here. So that's what we have. Again, looking even at the highs, there's definitely more levels in here that you can look for. We also have, for example, maybe something in here in alignment with this supply level, and we do have also previous level support resistance in there. That's actually a level that was looking for price also already to react from in here yesterday with the opening, not yesterday, Friday with the opening, but price just paused in there. And NASDAQ has a similar level in there. That's where I was looking for price to react from before looking for the sell. Price never really got there, unfortunately, and it just moved to the downside. This is one of the levels in here that S&P, for example, could react from. Yeah, NASDAQ, that's what I mentioned exactly, kind of somewhere in here. So I was looking if this high could actually go slightly, could have gone slightly higher into there, basically fake out this high in here, and then just move to downside. So that didn't really happen in there. And I believe there's going to be some kind of reaction from that level at this point, depending actually where this low is reacting from. And it's actually reacting from an interesting level in there. So that's a valid level where it is reacting at this point. In here, if you start breaking below that level, then you could eventually make that move, and maybe from there can still be a level to look for a sell in here. And then eventually we're going to be looking for price to get closer more to this one of these levels in there, or even, as I mentioned, can even go and take that low in there. If price actually starts just respecting this level and starts moving upwards, then yeah, maybe you can have a little bit of a reaction from here, but maybe just as an engulf upwards, and then you can carry on moving to the upside. Right, so for example, if price does continue to respect this level where it is right now, eventually you can start moving to the upside, break a little bit this structure in here, these highs, maybe just move to lower and then can do it like this, working this one potentially as an engulf to the upside from there. If price just carry on now breaking actually these lows in here, and that will kind of I mentioned on the left side, then price eventually could react, could eventually come back in here, react a little bit, and then yeah, could use a bit of actually that level as a continuation in here. So that's sometimes again where it was reacting from. It can matter in this particular case what to expect from this level, at least where the target would be in here. Yep, NASDAQ, that's what you have. Again, good reaction from that level in there. Yep, so just continues to this point. If this is just a big sell-off, again, next level we are looking for NASDAQ to get closer to this 17,300, something like that. That's what or where we'll be looking in this case. Dow, yeah, Dow made that deep retracement, so we mentioned, and now basically reacting or retesting the real low, the last low that created this push to the upside. That's where basically now NASDAQ, not NASDAQ, Dow is reacting from. What am I doing? So yeah, so that's what we have. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. All right. Yep, if you do break, then you can even go all the way, and you'll start aiming for price to go close to that level in there. And you, of course, you do have this previous structure in there as well, which can be a level for price to bounce from. DAX also finally managed to break all the way, so it retested in close or within this range again. So finally managed to go below that low, something that we have been again waiting for a long now. Big move to downside, big sell off, and there you go on DAX, with the potential, in my opinion, to even go all the way to take this low. We can have a bounce now, maybe just retest this previous level in there, and then eventually continue to move to the continue to move to the downside from there. Yeah, so we'll see. It's across all markets, the sell-off. Jumping into crypto in here, right? So we continue to move to downside. There you go. So just literally selling off completely. I was looking for price will still react a little bit from that level. We mentioned last week that I was actually looking for price to react from around this level, this 70,000 something, just to fake out actually this double top in there. And then that could have been a great level to look for a short. In this particular case, price just, yeah, it missed my level for a little bit. We start having that break of a low, start having this compression as well. So this one was already clean. And now we are selling off in here on crypto. So Bitcoin, we'll see now how it's going to happen in there. In my opinion, that low, if you remember, hasn't really reacted from that level. So this can still carry on just being this big shift without managing to break new highs and at the same time managing to break lows. So just in the bigger picture, just to have a little bit of an idea of what price is doing. And in here, it's just continuation at this point. Not really any high being taken. So yeah, it's just let it go until eventually find a little bit of strength of some buyers fighting this level. Yeah, but it doesn't look good at this point. All right, yeah. So Ethereum, the same thing. There you go. Ethereum actually now just breaking these lows. So yep, continuation and it all the way. If we cut that level, again reacted from that level that we talked about as well. Good PA in here during this week, and then we had that initial move to downside, react, and then continue to push lower. I think we also mentioned that this low actually managed to break that one. So in reality, this was already a break or engulf to the downside. I do believe I mentioned that as well when it happened. So there you go, a continuation in here, moving lower at this point, and yeah, there's more space. There's more space to go on Ethereum. So definitely, the reaction from the highs is quite good. It's in there. Price created basically the top in there. Managed to start breaking lows, retest. Now breaks a new low, and you may be getting closer into this range now in here. You may have a little bit of reaction from this level just to retest the previous level support resistance. So that will be one of the potential initial trades that you have in here. It's maybe somewhere in here, just come back, react from this level, maybe resume, right? So just to test that structure, that could be possibly a scenario. So let's see how price may react around this level in there, and then all of a sudden price is continuing to move to the downside and looking for price to get closer more to that level in there. And then Solana, which continues to go as well. So this week it retested basically 194 and now is already at 133 with the potential to go to 120 or even below that, finally take these lows in here. That was just a small fake out literally of this line here, of that left shoulder into that level in there. So yeah, let it just continue to move lower in here. Yeah, I bet it could take the lows now finally. I think it can take this level in there. Looking at the FX and the indices, right? So starting with dollar, with euro index, so good reaction. So basically we filled all this space back into these lows in there, and good reaction from this demand zone at these lows. So basically made all these moves to the downside, reacted now from this level, and now it's bouncing back to the upside. So good reaction in here. Price turned. It was nice. It was nice to see the reversal. There's maybe still something in here that price could still hold. Bigger picture could still continue to move slightly lower, but just to respect the structure. Like, so again, we have all of this. We've predicted precisely the fake out in there. It was on the week of the ECB press conference. We looked at this double top that was created in here with this high as well, and then you had the fake out, and since then you start looking for those sell opportunities. Break the low, never close the gap, so we continue to be bearish in here, and there you go. Now basically we fill this full range in there. So if there is a level that we should stop looking for sales, is when price is somewhere in here. You need to wait now in terms of either price breaks these lows and perhaps there's a continuation. And if price just keeps respecting these lows in here, then maybe we start having that type of a reversal in here. So as a seller, you should have stopped to look for sales in there. As a buyer, if you do find a confirmation there, you can aim for that long in here. So we'll see. We are in here now. And then the end pairs, like, and the end index in this particular case, with this big move to the upside, which is maybe one of the reasons why we are in this meltdown that we are on in the market. Also, if you look at Nikkei as well, kind of a big sell-off after breaking those all-time highs. I think those all-time highs, or at least broke this 30-year reference high that we had. 30-year reference high that we had. And yeah, good, beautiful PI. So price goes up, protests basically the previous high, goes up again, starts breaking lows, fake outs one more time, and then big sell-off to the downside. Like in terms of the pattern and everything, it looks perfect. And there's maybe even the chance eventually for the Nikkei to actually go somewhere in there and continue to move to the downside. But for now, we do have this level in there. But we'll see. So we'll see what's going to happen. There you go, complete reverse, opposite to the yen index. So yen pairs are gaining strength. And we'll see. This is maybe a good level where price already is reacting a little bit. At this point, I'm looking for price eventually to get closer to these highs in here. That's basically one of the reference highs that managed to make out this move down. And as price actually then wants to go all the way to the extreme again, somewhere in there. Yeah, so again, somewhere around this level, that's where we're going to be looking for the end pairs to have a little bit of a reaction and bounce from as well. Yeah. Now jumping into the individual currency pairs, like so we have euro dollar. Right, and we made this big move to the upside. So we have been compressing, as I mentioned before, on the euro dollar. We have actually been moving to the downside, while dollar index was more in the range. Now, personally, this low doesn't really mean anything to me. It means just in the sense that it actually broke it, and actually potentially shows indication that it wants to go lower. That's one of the things that it shows in here, in my opinion. This was a beginning of this new cycle that basically opened from here to there. So that's something, and we did manage to break below it without really getting close to the next level. So this for me is actually an engulf to the downside in here. Now, if you do recall, in the bigger picture, we actually managed to break into this compression in here on the euro dollar. So, and breaking into this compression, even though this level is perfect on the 4-hour and I think daily time frame as well, kind of just a beautiful fresh supply level that this high never reacted from. So good reaction from there and price moving lower. In reality, we did manage to break into this compression, which means that we can eventually go all the way and feel this compression in there. And then you can even go slightly higher and start taking these highs in here into something in there. So that potentially the level on the euro dollar in the bigger picture. Bear in mind that we also have a little bit of this break to downside. And I didn't even like the way the euro dollar moved away from here. How these lows in here created during Thursday in the afternoon, in already Monday, Friday morning. I didn't really like it. It's completely opposite, for example, with what we had on the pound. But there you go, massive move. Then we had the NFP, a really big move to the upside, and we are basically filling out this. Basically took 2 weeks or so to make this move down, and took 1 day to make the move all the way back into here, right? So this is a beautiful example again of compression. We start basically since that break in here, start a new cycle, goes all the way, and now boom, we have that move. Price is reacting from the supply, and at this point it is what it is, and we'll see if the euro dollar actually managed to break above this level or not. So that will be definitely the next level to look for. Pound dollar reacted exactly from the first level that we had, right? So we wanted to see pound dollar going all the way and take out this compression to go below that low, and it reacted perfectly from this level in here. So that was beautiful. We also mentioned that we wanted to start seeing some highs being broken. There you go. And we also had this level in here that price never really got there. So this high never really got to that level. So that's basically a little bit of a target as well to look for. It was an interesting NFP in here. So this is actually a typical move that sometimes happens, especially in a moment when you had the surprise, right? So the market was anticipated one thing, the real data it was a completely different one, in this case negative, and we had this big spike. But however, there was this demand zone. Basically, there were two levels that I could still see the pound dollar by any chance spiking and moving to the upside. One of the levels, it will be somewhere in there. I think there was still a level in there that is still fresh. The price by any chance wanted to spike down and then do this, it could. And the level is in here. And the other one, it was this demand zone. Basically, price spiked to the upside without really touching that demand zone. And then it came all the way back down. So it went up, it came all the way back down, and now it reacted from here. I actually noticed this one in the moment. I tried to go long straight away, but price never retraced anything. Basically, pound dollar just turned, which we turn and go. Like there was not even a pause in here, nothing, price to which we just start moving, and all of a sudden it starts being too far away from the low in there. For example, euro dollar didn't even make that move. Euro dollar just went up, traced, and went to the upside. The pound dollar and dollar CAD actually still fake out slightly the initial move, and then it moved again in there. But yeah, this is a nice one in here in terms of the NFP. It's a movement that tends to happen as well several times. Yeah, so we'll see. Again, euro dollar, as you can see, already basically made all this move, and it's close to this high that we created on the 17th of July. So euro dollar is already made all that. Pound dollar, as you can see, is completely different. It's lagging. It made also much bigger move to the downside, and it hasn't even managed to break this high in here, which is actually the real high that we have at this point in here. So if by any chance if pound dollar does want to continue to move like that, it has a lot of room to still go towards to, right? And you do have all this compression that eventually can be filled in here. So we'll see. We do have maybe that level still, that level in there, even a little bit underneath. But for now, we definitely need at least some kind of breakover highs in here to continue to push. Otherwise, if price just continues to respect this level and starts moving lower, maybe we can actually carry on this momentum to the downside in here on the pound dollar, that we actually finally managed to have the first rate cut in the UK, the Bank of England. So yeah, we'll see. Again, bigger picture, we can have the continuation to the upside. It's just interesting that these major pairs that usually are so correlated, moving so much in alignment, they are actually reacting now from completely different levels and lagging comparing with each other. Euro pound, there you go, right? This was the trade as well for the last 2 weeks, since we predicted that move to the upside. Then I was actually looking for price to come back to this level one more time, but he never did. And now he made out the move, right? So we were complete bullish on the euro pound for a while already, and price just carry on. So it fake out that low, but a bit closer into that level. But most importantly, you start having the PA of reversal. Like you start breaking slightly the highs, you start getting enough liquidity, you create that final move down, and then there you go. So everything in here was already basically compressed, and you're aiming already for price to go slightly higher. So there you go. It still went a little bit up and down in there, and now it just continues to move. And I'm looking for the euro pound actually potentially to can even go somewhere in there. And this just shows kind of how the euro actually is gaining momentum in relation to the pound as well in here. Yeah, but again, euro pound tends to be a pair that tends to oscillate us quite a lot. So it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, which means that we may not have just a straight move to the upside in here, right? We may have a little bit of retracement again, maybe we'll go back there and then just continue to move like that until it starts getting closer to that level, or by any chance just gains momentum and goes finishing off story. We'll see what's going to happen. Now it's reacting a little bit from this structure. It's one of the last ones that still can hold price a bit down. Aside from that, a lot of it has been compressed and price can actually just not really moving higher. Then we have Aussie dollar, which is still holding this low, so we still managed to do that. The price is basically trading within this range at this point. Personally, I would like it to see this Aussie dollar continue to move slightly lower. I don't really think it's a good level. It's a freshman zone, but in the bigger picture, I think Aussie dollar still wants to go further down in there. So we'll see what's going to happen at this point. So I want to price to move more to downside before looking for those longs in here on the Aussie dollar. The other Aussie pairs, we had a really big move push, right? So with respect to that level, initially we had a really good reaction from this level in here, but apparently the momentum to the upside still continues. Again, in the bigger picture, we did reacted from that level in here. So the tendency may actually be to go all the way to test these highs in there. So that may still be the potential. And also, if actually looking into this time frame in here, we actually can see that price is reaching a bullish momentum, and all this move down is just a reaction eventually from this low in there. And from here, we actually can eventually carry on and create new highs and start targeting somewhere in there. Right? Can eventually target. So this high is already reacting from something in here. We can eventually target something more to the upside in there. So that's actually a potential move in here on the Euro Aussie. In the bigger picture, more in the lower time frame, of course, we are going to bounce from different levels, and there's something to also pay attention to. Now we do have a little bit of a compression here. Maybe there can be a little bit of reaction from this one of these levels, and then eventually can go a bit more to the upside. So we'll see. Again, can bounce from here. Can have a few things in there that can work. Yeah, but beautiful reaction actually from this demand zone to actually make that move, and price just reacted from that demand zone. Didn't really create any engulf to the downside, just respect it, even though it did manage to break below this low. But in reality, this demand zone was still fresh, so even if you manage to break below this low, it's not exactly an engulf. It just price finally filling the space that was in there available. And since then, just moving to the upside in here. And you can take a look at pound Aussie as well. So pound Aussie as well, because the pound dollar, or the pound pairs, is actually moving a bit more to downside comparing with euro. The euro has been much stronger compared with the pound. That's why you actually see euro pound basically breaking highs already, or euro CAD as well, and the pound CAD or the pound Aussie, they are not exactly still managing to break highs at this point in here. So we'll see. Again, you can still fake out one more time this high. You can still get closer to that level in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we do that. If you do break then above this high, you're actually eventually going towards there. So that's just something to bear in mind. So price can eventually continue to move a bit more to the upside, reacting there and then push lower. Similar scenario with Euro Aussie is that this pound Aussie also reacted from a good valid level in there with the lows. So we'll see. I'm still anticipating maybe some reaction from here on the pound Aussie. That may be still a potential setup, and also in there. So at this point, I don't really see price just breaking completely in here. I see some reactions first, which can lead into some short opportunities from the highs. Jumping into the yen pairs, right? And we are looking at the Aussie yen, and what a sell-off, right? So the sell-off is incredible, and we also mentioned, like, there's a lot of compression in here, and the potential can be even lower on the Aussie yen, right? You can go even all the way until here. So we mentioned that, and it's basically happening in here, right? So we'll see. Honestly, we'll see, but the potential is quite big. Again, a lot of this compressed price. Of course, you bounce a little bit here and there in the lower time frame. You can maybe find some reaction, but aside from that, it's just a complete sell-off, and price can come back into here again, and we'll see what's going to happen eventually in here. But yeah, no point in looking for many reversals in here. Again, dollar yen now bouncing from this level, so it's been bouncing a little bit from a few zones, and you can even target this low as well in here. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. Your birthday. Okay. All right. do you want to share your predictions as well with everyone? Are you bearish? Are you bullish? So what's your take? What? Do you want to eat? All right, so just don't step on top of the keyboard. Yep, not good. Okay, stay there. So dollar yen. All right, bye. Yeah, dollar yen most likely is going to continue to move to downside. It has also now this level in here that can eventually react from. And yep, they can maybe do something in there as well. And we'll see what's going to happen. But again, the continuation to downside, and this has been one of the problems that has been the catalyst for this big sell-off that we have seen. Yeah. So again, since it has been moving to downside for so long and quite aggressively, eventually we're going to have a little bit of a reaction. But even if we have that, I still expect price to continue. So we still need to get into a compression phase in here. So we are nowhere near close to a potential like big reversal in here. We are eventually getting into a compression, which is price starting to go down, but start having a little bit of finding some buyers in here, and then eventually the sellers gain control again, but not exactly managing to gain much momentum like it has been so far. And basically the buyers jump again and again, something like that, and eventually potentially breaks or start breaking some of these highs. Maybe break one of those walls again, and then you start moving or having a little bit of a turn in there. So we'll see at this point. Maybe aiming eventually to one of these walls in here can be something to look for in there. All right, Euro yen just continues as well. Not as bearish as the other ones. Again, of course, it's been moving quite a lot as well, but Friday didn't really move as much to the downside as the other yen pairs, because the euro actually is quite bullish. So we kind of ranged a little bit, to be honest, within this structure. And you are getting closer into this demand zone that we talked about, and maybe then you have the other one in there, and eventually can maybe all this is actually to aim for these walls in there. So we may have that, and we have also potentially this range in here. If price does want to start reversing a little bit from here, can maybe even do that and eventually continue to move to the downside, reacting from something or somewhere in there. So yes, we are still bearish, and even if we have a retracement, we continue to be bearish. Just looking for some fresh levels in here at on the left side that price may bounce from. For example, this can be one of them. Yep, definitely. So picking out that low into here, that can be actually one of them. Yeah. It does look good. There's a little bit of this gap in here, to be honest. I think price paused in there first. That's where the previous wall reacted from. I think the previous wall reacted from there. Yeah, that's where the previous wall reacted from. The other one is, yeah, could be in there. So that's actually one of the levels. We are still, yeah, quite a few pips away, 150 pips or something like that. Yeah, that can be one of the levels to expect the euro yen to have a little bit of a reaction from. So we'll see. Again, the compression starts to happen in here as well, so eventually you can have a little bit of a turn before potentially moving to the downside again. So we'll see if you do have that happening in there. And again, pound yen, it's another one that has been a bit more bearish. Again, maybe still there was a lot of space in there. I also mentioned that a lot of this has been compressed already, on the way price is moving upwards, which means that now there's not really much going on in here that can hold price. Again, maybe getting closer to this level or eventually towards these lows, and we are looking for price to go actually somewhere in there. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised if that will be the destination of this pound yen. But of course, with some bounces in between. US from that level just continues to push lower. Yeah, CAD the dollar. So dollar CAD came all the way and retested the high. It was actually a great level, and it hold that level still during the NFP. And the bigger picture, we already have the first break of a low, even though it reacted perfectly from the previous level support resistance. It's not exactly the most clear engulf down, and that good reaction from here if I count, but we can start looking a little bit from that, right? So again, dollar CAD has been quite bullish in here, and you are getting closer to these previous highs in there. So again, reacting from here, we can even go slightly higher as well if that's what price wants to do. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen somewhere around here. Do you want cookie? Okay. So dollar CAD, that's one that to keep an eye on. And even though it kind of reacted from that level, I don't like the lows that are being broken in here, so I'm going to pay attention to see what kind of opportunities we are going to have in here at the highs. Yeah, that looks good in there. The other CAD pairs are more bullish, so we have Euro CAD with a strong euro, managed to go all the way and break these highs. So that's the momentum that we have. And I think I already mentioned a couple of weeks ago, a few days ago, that maybe there's a good opportunity somewhere in here. So let actually price go all the way and take this high in here, and actually wait for price to have some bounce from one of these levels in here, and that can actually be a great trading opportunity that you can have on the Euro cards. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Those levels, they are usually great. It may not be in here, it can actually be just literally as soon as we take this high, so maybe can even be a little bit underneath that. We are looking at that's still a 50 pips distance move, but maybe it's the one with fresh level that's in there. Do I have data? Yes, I still have data in here. Basically, price already reacted from this level. Yeah, somewhere around here there can be a level in there that you can look for price to bounce, and because it's such a the high is visible in a higher time frame, like it's a higher time frame structure in here, that separates basically this new level between this new zone in here that you basically manage to break below that low. That becomes a really important level in there. We have also this previous zone, which is quite good, so that's definitely one to pay attention. We have already price bouncing from those levels a few times in the past as well. So yeah, somewhere in there can be quite interesting, and one of the first trades that's going to happen most likely can be from there towards here. Right, so basically where we had this previous support resistance, maybe something like this can be the trade, and then maybe price will just continue to push higher. So how can you define that? Basically pay attention to see how price moves away from here. All right, if price already reacts from that level and starts going upwards, and then reacts again from the demand, basically cleans every single order that are in there, then when you eventually get there, then you can actually have a bigger target and start looking for price to go lower. If price never really reacts from this level and leaves it behind, then that can be the level where price will bounce from. Simple. Pound CAD, it's also resuming the move a little bit more to the upside, kind of retesting. You still have that high that you're reacting from, And again, opposite to the euro CAD, we are still a bit farther away from these highs. So which means that there's maybe still a possibility to sell again. We did manage to break it, we even managed to break below that low once again. That's nice, to be honest. Yes, we managed to break out this low in there, so that's nice as well. So yeah, it looks good, and I think honestly that similar to the pound Aussie, that there's maybe still a possibility to look for something in there. That price could move to downside. Meanwhile, we have Euro Aussie and Pound CAD, for example, that are getting into better levels in the higher time frame, kind of on the left side, and eventually both of them can short around this structure. So we'll see. It's one to keep an eye on. I think that's going to be also interesting to follow. Dollar franc Swiss, that was kind of expected. We mentioned that a lot of this had been compressed. Yep, so basically as soon as you take that low, this low was already break of that low, it means that wouldn't really hold that much. Everything here was compressed, and price could actually go further down. We are reacting from that demand zone, which is something that we also mentioned, and below that, yeah, we're getting now closer to this structure in here. Should we even expect price to hold this level and go upwards, or just move down? And the reality is that we moved to downside, we were tested, and we hold this high. Like price never really managed to break above that structure. In reality, respected it. And in the bigger picture, let's not forget that we are actually in this bearish move. So, and you can definitely still go further down. But of course, we can have some reactions from around this structure, close to the walls. We need dollar franc Swiss to slow down a little bit now before even aiming for anything like that, right? So it has been moving slowly to the downside, finally gain momentum with the NFP, and now we are here. Yeah, so we'll see again. It's been many days already in a row. In terms of weeks, it's already kind of as well many weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So we'll see if we have any opportunity to look for some retracements in here, or just a continuation to the downside. Gold retested the all-time high and it moved forward, right? So it respected that last level in here that was still fresh, so this high never reacted from that level, and now it did, and they're back into this range, right? So again, gold is starting to compress a little bit, so it goes higher but then it goes down. Now it starts creating double tops in there. Again, there's still the risk that can create new all-time highs, and without this situation, maybe that's where some of the investors are going to look to put their money on, is on gold. But we'll see. So yeah, we basically are within this range. Basically, we had a big sell-off on Friday after the NFP. Yeah, we'll see. But we did manage to respect the highs, so that was interesting to see. And basically went all the way and reacted now from this demand zone that was there. Basically everything was compressed in here as well. Actually delete that in here. So we'll see how gold is going to react from that level, or if we are going to take new all-time highs in here. This is the range at this point that we are looking for. And then even silver was yeah, it was a pity. On this day, on Thursday, I was looking for that fake out and push lower, and that move ended up happening on Friday. I was actually not that focused on Friday waiting for this one. I was more focused in here on Thursday. On Friday I didn't even set up any alert, nothing when this happened, and I ended up actually missing the move that I wanted to see. Basically, we created this double top. Those highs never really reacted from the level in there. There was still a zone in here that I was looking for. That's basically where this high reacted from. So big sell off after we fake out that double top, and there you go. Now price we've made all the move to downside, and we are within this range now in here. And then to finalize, we look at oil, which finally managed to also make the move to downside, and now it's reacting to those. Right, so oil is going to be an interesting one as well with this situation that we are. Within this is moving to downside and everything. We'll see what's going to happen in here. So good reaction from the demand zone already. It was in the Friday evening, already 7 p.m. UK time when we reacted from that demand zone that we mentioned during the week. So we'll see what's going to happen. Strong moves that we have in here. So a little bit of price connecting the orders from one side and the other, and we'll see which direction eventually oil is going to go towards too. If you do continue to move slightly towards the downside, then you start looking at these next lows as something to hold. Our price can just respect this level in here, these lows, create a little bit more of PA around this level, and then we can move to the upside from here. We'll see, and maybe we'll carry on being stuck within this range. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen. Brent as well. Brent actually is about to break the lows. It's been a bit more bearish. Brent already basically reacted from a little bit of that structure on the move up, and now we have this double bottom in here. Yeah, and below that, basically a lot of it is compressed, and they are looking basically for price to already go below there, and you start looking for this one. That's already levels from last year. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in here. Basically, price may be reacting from the extreme. Yep, basically from that level. Yeah, so that's it in terms of the news. Again, in terms of big catalyst for next week, I think we only have interest rate decision in Australia. I think it's going to be Tuesday, and I think the expectation is to keep the rates unchanged. And I think there's some unemployment as well in New Zealand, Australia, something like that. Then we have, yeah, not much in terms of big news in terms of US or Euro. What we have is this stress situation in the financial markets and the fear of this big bearish momentum. And tomorrow it's going to be really interesting when the market opens, not just London but also the US session. I think especially the US session. That's going to be quite interesting. So yeah, in terms of the dollar, I think we're going to have a continuation to the downside for a little bit more. I think the euro could also go and take the highs. We have such a big momentum. I think we're going to carry on with that momentum at least for another day. In here, let's see now that we are trading at around these highs. Pound can go slightly higher. Again, the yen pairs, they continue to go until we actually see some signs of reversal of price, or the yen index gets closer to a specific top. I'm not going to really fight the reversals in here. Maybe some of the pairs can be closer than others. For example, euro yen may be a bit more bullish than, for example, Aussie yen or the dollar yen. The CAD pairs as well, I think they are getting into, again, interesting levels. Pound CAD, dollar CAD maybe still around this high. Euro CAD, let it go slightly higher. Same thing with euro Aussie, let it go a little bit higher as well. Aussie dollar, I think I would like you to see also making another leg down, so that could help Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie to go slightly higher before the turn. And that's going to be maybe something to pay attention to, because that's one with interest rate in there. Oil, just curious also to see how price may react. And then yeah, gold as well around the highs. Are you going to be able to take new highs or not? Or just basically respect the highs and push lower? And in terms of crypto, that's another one where we are having this sell-off, and we'll see if these most recent lows that we had on Bitcoin, for example, are going to manage to hold, or price actually is going to break new lows. And Ethereum as well, carry on with momentum, same with Solana as well. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see what's going to happen next week. Again, we can talk tomorrow again for the pre-market analysis. So at 7:30, I'm doing these sessions of pre-market analysis live on YouTube. So join me. Let's take a look in more detail of which assets We can find those A plus setups, which ones we are looking for that are going to create the biggest momentum or moves in the market. That's what those are the type of opportunities that we are looking for in here. And if you are new, feel free to subscribe. I also just released my new video, so feel free to watch it as well. How to trade all-time highs, but I cover quite a lot in there as well. 4 phases in the market, cover specific trading setup. So there's plenty of information shared in there. Feel free to share any comments as well of what you thought about the video. And yeah, I'll carry on. It's going to be a big week, and apparently August is going to be quite busy. So stay safe out there. Again, don't risk your house. Basically, be responsible. Apply your risk management in this situation. Something that we may struggle in this type of markets, when you see a lot of movement, a lot of momentum, is that FOMO situation that you are afraid of missing out and you start rushing into certain positions. Sometimes you miss the initial opportunity, then you are trying to go behind the market and start taking the trades that they are not even part of your plan, but because you are in this FOMO, that's basically what you are doing. And usually those end up in a loss, because then when chance prices corrects a little bit, takes you out and then just continues. Those are usually kind of the ways price punish anyone that is kind of getting into those FOMO moments. Another big and important situation is keep your risk management in place. Like, don't risk, don't go crazy. Don't start moving stop losses like stupid. In a situation where you can actually start risking much more than you at initially you are about to, that's going to damage your own performance. But yes, this is an opportunity to stay focused, because there's going to be plenty of opportunities for us traders. Anyone that is trading intraday, there's plenty of momentum, there's plenty of opportunities in here. All right, with that being said, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.